exploring lakes, rivers, and reservoirs across the country with an unyielding goal to enlighten viewers from a fisheye perspective. Come along and we'll investigate the habitat. Much more than a fishing show, this is an eye-opening aquatic experience. Welcome to Kim Stricker's Hook and Look.
That is a giant from Michigan.
God, I love this.
Glorious shades of gold, yellow and red abound this week as Kim and his guest, Bryan Plenzler, hammer on some of the biggest bass of the year, disclosing why fall is a season they both long for.
Fantastic.
Fall. It's a time of year when many an outdoorsman heads to the woods, but not Bryan Plenzler. Mentally, perhaps more spiritually, he envisions how the day should progress. A subtle method awaits on deck as he and Kim confidently make their approach amidst the glow of a serene autumn setting.
There's a point that's like right up there. It kind of comes out.
Okay.
There's some grass on it, and they get on the end. They'll be on this side of it, and they'll be on the tip of it.
There we go.
That was quick. Is that a good one?
Yeah, it is. Ooh, that didn't take long at all, did it?
Nope.
Come on up here, baby.
Let's see how big this one is. That's a good start.
That's a darn good start. On that little Ned bait, the Ned Ocho.
Yeah, who says those little baits won't catch big ones?
Yeah, that's for sure. So, I mean, the bluegills are stacking up out here. Is that the...
Yeah, just a big deep flat, and they're just kind of cruising around. I think they live out here all year round on this lake, but, you know, they kind of corral those bluegills when it gets cold like this.
Yeah, the bite was exactly what you said. There's not a lot of cover out here. They're just roaming. And if you feel something...
Yeah, it's probably a fish. Set the hook.
Set the hook. That's what I did. I didn't feel them at all.
We'll just wander around out here.
Yeah.
Pretty much what you do is you just kind of wander around on these flats. And they'll be in some of the same areas, but, you know, they'll move. They follow the bait a little bit. If the bait moves, and
there you go. There he goes. Good job. Forget the net.
here he comes. He's coming quick. Yeah, it's a nice one.
Yep, another solid. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Right in the roof of the mouth.
They are eating that little bait, man.
I mean, look, that thing is, there's no way that fish was coming off, even with that little hook.
Oh, you got it right in the bone.
Yeah. I mean,
Heck
that
yeah.
little tiny hook. A lot of people, you know, they see that small hook and they're afraid that it won't handle bigger fish or you won't get a good hook in it. But I mean, I think sometimes a small hook
is better.
Penetrates better. So the rod I'm using is a 7.5-foot Lew's speed stick. It's a brand new model for 2020. It's a medium light power and it has a real soft tip, and that's real important when you're fishing light baits in deep water. And I paired that with a Team Lew's Custom Pro spinning reel that has a high-speed retrieve that really keeps that bend in the rod.
Ooh, what do you got there? Biggin? Is it Mr. Big yet? It looks good. It looks good. Get that net. Nice fish.
It's another nice one.
No.
He clicked it. I felt him hit it pretty hard. Look at that.
That's awesome.
It is.
I don't care.
God, I love this.
Isn't that the truth? I was just going to say the same thing. That's good
I
stuff.
can get him unhooked here. He clicked it, you know, it wasn't that mush bite that we've had before, but.
Good stuff.
Ned Ocho.
Good
Love it. That's just another fat one, look at that.
They're just all solid, nice fish. But the big one is on its way.
No truer words were ever spoken. Stay with us. Hook and Look is brought to you by Strike King Lure Company, #1 in fishing lures. Lose, feel the difference. Power Pole, swift, silent, secure. Seagar, trust Seagar when everything is on the line. And by AquaView, reinventing underwater cameras.
Watching it go down. Takes a little while to get down to.
Yeah, when you're using 3/16 of an ounce and feeling like a good one.
That is a good one.
They're
This is
all
a better
big
one.
here.
Look at, oh, that's a good one. Come on over here. I'm gonna loosen my drag this up a little bit. Whoa. Whoa. Oh yeah, that's a nice one. Yes, sir.
It's another solid chunk.
Gosh. Look at, I mean.
Yeah, they're swallowing it. Look
Swallowing
at that. He definitely wanted it. I mean, that's just a football. I mean, look how fat that belly is.
Absolutely. Another good, solid fall fish.
Yep.
Ned Rig. I mean, that's such a good bait in the fall, isn't it?
It's a good bait any time of the year,
it
but
is.
I mean, in the fall, I mean, it mimics. I mean, it can mimic a bluegill. It can mimic a little crawfish or leech on the bottom. Any number of things, but I mean, it's just a great bait.
There's one. There you go. Good one. Good one. Good. Big, that's a nice fish. Hold on, man. You got 6-pound test line, and you fight it like you got 65-pound braid.
Look at that. It just came out. Another chunky one.
It's hard for an old guy to move that fast. You can sure see the childlike enthusiasm in Bryan each time he hooks a fish. That comes from a deep love of the sport and genuinely embracing the late autumn season. It's a time when you have a strong possibility to hook a giant on any cast.
There you go. That looks like a good one.
That feels good. That feels like a better one. That feels like a head shaker. Oh, come on, darling. Come on, darling. Ooh, that does feel like a little better fish. Oh, look at him. Yeah!
That's a big one.
That's a giant.
That is a giant. Oh my gosh. Wow.
That is a giant.
I told you there's big ones live here.
Oh my gosh, I knew it was a good fish.
Yeah. Got
Look at the
one
size.
That's a big one.
Wow.
Yeah, cool spot he's got on his.
Yeah, I know. A lot of these fish have had those spots.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
That's a stud. That was a big largemouth for Michigan. And I ain't lying, I was pretty excited. It was probably one of my top 10 personal bests in the state. These are the kind of fish you can catch in the fall. Big. But it's searching the areas like you do, Bryan, and to find these kind of fish.
Yeah, they're.
You know, you texted me when you were out practicing, and you sent me a couple of pictures of giants like these.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
You knew we were going to catch them.
I told you when we got to this little area here, this is where the big ones live. So.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Fantastic.
No doubt, the Ned Ocho is one fantastic lure. Simple, yet very effective. And a key part of it is the tour-grade Ned jig head, which includes a pan-style head shape that stands the lure straight up. In addition, The jig head also includes a wire keeper and a sickle-style hook to ensure solid hookups and secure bait rigging. You can rig it a couple ways. Today we rigged it flat side down, but you can also rig the hook out the side for more of a fishtail action. Throughout the show, I've highlighted the movement of the Ned Ocho underwater along a firm, sandy bottom. I've done this to demonstrate the tantalizing quiver of this finesse bait and to show how incredibly well Strike King's Ned jig head stands the bait on end as we work it. With that said, the lure actually appears much dissimilar to the bass in our current deep basin setting. That's because the bottom substrate at our targeted depth is comprised of soft, fluffy silt, not firm sand. In reality, the lure completely disappears within the sediment and puffs a trail of silt as it pops out. This is an occurrence we refer to as mud puffing and takes place in the basins of most eutrophic inland lakes. When we return, we'll reveal how the bass themselves relate to that soft sediment.
Stay tuned. Kim inspects the basin with an AquaView camera. We'll be right back.
Last year, when Bryan and I filmed together in late fall, we utilized the AquaView camera. Equipped with its auto-clear technology, we captured this video of a bass in 20 foot of water with green algae covering its belly. This revealed that the bass had apparently been sitting motionless on the bottom. Our goal today is to observe and document that very same scenario to further confirm how the bass rests on the silty bottom this time of year. We began our surveillance along the weed edge.
But you can see how that stonewort grows. The fish can't get down inside of it. That's starry stonewort. Look at the bluegills.
All kinds
All of them, yep. That tells the story right there. I mean, that's the reason the bass are here.
Starry stonewort in actuality is not a weed at all, but an invasive macroalgae. It grows tall and dense, choking out the native vegetation. As you can see, the stonewort is impenetrable, and the young of the year bluegill can't hide in it. The adult bluegill can be found on the bottom outside the edge in the deeper basin at the same depth we've been catching our bass. Upon further surveillance, we eventually came across what we're looking for. Let's stop the video here. Here is a bass just outside the starry stonewort, resting comfortably on the bottom with its belly buried in the silt. You'll notice its body is tipped up slightly, keeping its head and gills out of the silt.
Look at, laying right on the bottom. Laying right on the bottom,
That was
resting.
cool.
That was absolutely
That's
cool.
exactly what they're doing.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Very cool. Now check this out. I'm going to stop the video again. Now, can you see a bass resting on the bottom here? It's right there on the lower left. This is what they do during cold water months. Bass are cold-blooded animals, and as their body temperature drops, so does their metabolism, and they conserve energy by resting on the bottom.
But it's just a know-nothing bottom.
Mm-hmm. It's like I told you, if you feel something, it's probably a fish. No, this is my favorite time to get out.
I know that.
For sure. Yeah, people who don't spend time outdoors like this, they're missing out.
We're very blessed to be able to do it. It's all in your upbringing, you know. Pretty much most of the anglers I know have done it since they were a kid, but there are some that started midlife and just are crazy about it.
Yeah, I grew up fishing with my dad and my uncle, and my brother'd come along too, and I mean, nights before we were going to go fishing with my Uncle Jim, walleye fishing on Lake Erie, I couldn't sleep at night.
Yeah.
It was we would get so excited, and I mean, a lot of that's the reason, you know, I'm doing what I do today for an
that you got the
occupation,
bug so bad, yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I just love it.
Yeah, there you go. Good.
It
He's
feels like
coming
it's a
in
good
hot.
one. Here he comes.
Well, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's definitely a nice fish. Yes, sir. Yes, yes, yes.
There we go.
Awesome.
That one there.
That is a dandy. They're just laying on the bottom,
Yeah.
or is the sun cruising?
I actually felt that one click it again like I did that other one. I knew right away it was a fish.
It seems like some are more active, but
Yeah,
from what we saw in the aqua view, you know, there's a lot of nothing.
yeah.
And you'll have a fish lay in there, or you'll have a fish just kind of slowly cruising, but there's no bait on the bottom. I mean, you put something like that, it's like a little crayfish or something, but the finesse of the Ned bait
It's deadly.
is deadly.
The Ned Ocho continues to hammer big heads. When Hook and Look returns. This portion of Hook and Look is brought to you by Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. Evinrude, the only outboard that lets you have it all. The original Wacky tool, your soft bait's best mate. Trick Step, because getting in and out of your trailered boat should be easy. And by Indian River, Michigan Tourist Bureau. Pure waters, pure trails, pure north.
If you're serious about bass fishing in the fall, you're bound to run into some wind. But don't just tolerate it, manage the wind and use it to your benefit with power pole drift paddles. No doubt Bryan and I were fortunate, but I came prepared for the worst. When the wind does blow, I simply drift across the flats or along the parallel breaks, casting with the wind, and let the drift paddles slow my drift up to 50%. And unlike a drift sock, the drift paddles are easily raised by the push of a button and out of the way when fighting a fish. So again, don't just tolerate the wind, manage it with power pole drift paddles.
I think they just probably see this little thing kind of shaking around down there on the bottom, and I bet you they just come on over to it like a cat would and just
Jump
look
on
at it and wait for it, stare at it, and finally
Get it just like that.
get it just like that.
Good one? Be a big one, be a big one. Oh, another one of those pesky 2.5 pounders.
He doesn't suck.
No, he doesn't. We joke about that. Ooh. We joke about that, but it's a riot. I'm telling you. If people aren't out at this time of year doing this, they're missing out on a lot of good fishing.
This I've said it a million times. This is my favorite time of the year to fish, hands down. Like, not even a question.
Can always count on Bryan to get on them. But he was out with his mentor the other day.
Yeah, you joke around and call me the cold water expert, but we know who the real cold water expert is, and that's Greg Magus.
Greg Magus is a stud.
He has taught me a lot about this type of fishing. I've fished with him quite a bit over the years, and taken what I've learned from him and applied it on some of the lakes over in my part of the state. And
I mean, Greg is a guy that really hasn't fished the tour.
he's that guy that nobody knows about nationally,
That is respected by guys like Kevin Van Dam.
everybody, yeah.
Absolutely.
Great fisherman,
Fabulous. And a good all-around dude.
good dude.
Ooh, there he goes. He's hot again. He's hot again. Another good one? I hope.
Yeah, that's a good
yeah, that's another dandy. Another dandy. Oh, baby.
one. Oh, yeah. Nice.
I mean, look, they're footballs.
Yeah. That's just a good, look at that. Right at the top of the mouth. He wasn't coming off.
Buried in there. I mean, that hook set of yours.
Just reel and sweep.
And that's it.
And, you know, that works great for those light wire hooks and basically a pressure set. So cool.
Man, this is awesome.
Awesome. Another fat one. I mean, that's just a big fat fish.
Yeah, ooh, that one feels pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's a good one, I think. That's a good one. Ooh, that is a nice fish. Man, he's just bulldogging. That's a big fish. That's another good one. Get up here. The suspense. He just keeps bulldogging. That's another nice big fish. Yes!
Oh my gosh!
That is another tank. Golly.
That is...
Oh, look, he just caught, well, he's caught good. He's buried there, but that is fantastic.
That's awesome. That is a giant.
You're on him here. There's no doubt about it. And I'm having fun catching them. That's great. I certainly appreciate going fishing with you every time, Bryan. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean,
We've had some good days.
and I did a Red Ear show earlier in the year. You pointed me in that direction. I certainly appreciate that.
I hope you enjoyed today's program. Next week, we fish for peacock bass in Miami, Florida. So be sure to tune in then, when once again we'll
Hook and look.
Hook and Look is a Kim Stricker production.